Hello, everybody, and welcome to the commentary section of this episode of Main Event. This is our main event of Main Event, and take the shot if you're playing the drinking game. This is a six-man battle royal to determine the new number one contender for the United States Championship on Nitro. So I'd say I gave about six or seven, or I maybe skipped over a couple spots, but I gave six of the top contenders that the game gave me, and I threw them all in a battle royal, and this is what it gave me. I didn't even play this match because I don't enjoy battle royals in these types or multi-man matches for that matter in this game. So I just did what I did and let the computer do the work for me. Speaking of not really having fun in certain matches in this game, I've been thinking about this topic a lot, and that is the topic of wrestling simulation game versus a wrestling arcade game. And it seems as though in the current landscape of WWE games, it seems as that they're taking more of a simulation turn than anything. Now, granted, what is it, that new WWE game, Breaking something, I don't even fucking know the name of it. It's just so stupid, and it doesn't pique my interest. It's too arcadey without a sense of any realism to it, and it's just really annoying, for lack of better terms. And Battlegrounds, that's not breaking anything. Battlegrounds, I just looked that up as I was making this commentary. But yeah, WWE Battlegrounds for me is too arcadey. It just doesn't look good. It doesn't look visually appealing. The art style doesn't look cool. It just looks ridiculous. That's to me. So it seems as though in the current landscape of WWE games, they're either doing one or the other without really mixing them together in a balanced manner. So it begs the question, what really was the last time we had a WWE game with a solid mix of both simulation and arcade without it feeling too much like one or the other? That's a simple question. I'm not gonna lie. The simplest question to me and the most realistic, it's the simplest answer and the most realistic answer, I should say, is WWE 2K20. I don't care what anybody says in this community. WWE 2K20 is a masterpiece of a wrestling game. It had if you just played stuff like, the regular playing matches or universe mode, just playing the game makes it feel like the perfect mixture of simulation versus arcade mixed with a bunch of great storytelling that you can create either by yourself or do whatever the game gives you, or as you play matches, which is what I do, which I mix and match with occasionally. It's a lot of fun. I find it to be definitely entertaining. Some people could also argue WWE 2K15 on PlayStation 3 because 2K15 didn't change all that much in terms of mechanics from WWE 2K14. But then again, 2K15 was like, I don't think they really put that much effort into it because it was going to two separate consoles after all. PlayStation 4 and Xbox One were really picking up steam, and they tried to get on the bandwagon as soon as possible with that. So I could see some people don't like the game, some people like the game. It really just depends. But the PS3 version, which is the version I have because I preferred the PlayStation 3 over what they showed us in the PlayStation 4, and also I didn't have a PlayStation 4 at the time. It just, again, it had that perfect mix of ridiculous arcadiness when it comes to doing hardcore matches and so on, and just other stuff in general. And then they had like the simulation aspect of just having really fluid gameplay, really great wrestling gameplay, and it's just not the same. Ever since 2K15 and ever since WWE games moved to the current generation of consoles, which is PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, they've taken away that arcadey aspect and that fluidness of the arcadey aspect, I think, that made 2K14 and previous games before that used the Predator 2 technology, like 12 and 13. They took away what made those games special and actually, playable, and then turned it into this robotic, I don't even know what to say. It's literally robotic. Like, if you watch a WWE game from anywhere from 2K12 or WWE 12 to 2K15 on PlayStation 3, strictly PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360, you can see that it's a lot more fluid than whatever the fuck that you're watching right now, which is this Battle Royal. To me, I find the WWE the movement to be far too chaotic, not chaotic, but robotic, as well as just sometimes the movements of their actual characters during entrance modes. It's really annoying, honestly. It's just I look at this now. I'm watching this gameplay, and I can't really fathom how bad it looks. And not just to mention that they have. I talk shit about how they took away a lot of the arcadey aspect, and they've kind of brought that back in to some extent over the last couple of games with that big head mode and the ridiculous, what was it, those payback power-up things that they introduced in 2K19, which was probably one of my only gripes with 2K19, despite me feeling like it was one of the better WWE 2K games in recent memory. It was just not. I just don't like them though. They just don't add anything. They just add a lot of frustration that doesn't need to be there in terms of certain aspects. I don't know, man. It's just I think about this ever so often because I've been trashing WWE 2K every opportunity I get when it comes to either EBCW or on social media, and I still play this game because it gives me content. I have no choice. I would go back and gladly continue the 2K19 EBCW season, but at this point, there's really no point to. So I just continue on until I feel like I don't want to do it anymore. And I was going to mention this as well. When it comes to those arcadey aspects that they introduced, like Payback and the big head thing and whatever the other ridiculous shit they did. I think they did like box bodies or something like that. I don't even know what the fuck they did because I don't regularly pay attention to it. It just doesn't even look good. It just looks ridiculous, especially the big head thing. Some people like that aspect of the arcadiness in a game like this, but at this point in WWE games and 2K's lifespan with the WWE license, if you're gonna do one and make it and look like it's poor, just don't do it at all. That's the same thing with the 2K originals stuff. They also tried to do the arcade aspect in just ridiculous, pointless DLCs. That was the 2K originals, which I think failed. I think it's a failure. I think it looks stupid. I think it just doesn't add anything to the game. The same shitty mechanics that are in the game are still going to be in the game, regardless of whether you get this new Aleister Black skin that makes him look like a fucking demon, or this devil Undertaker and so on. It just looks ridiculous, and that's the point I'm trying to say. They're either mixing it together and doing it poorly, or they're going all out and making one thing over another. And it just doesn't mesh well. Again, like I said, go back and watch gameplay of like from WWE 12 to WWE 2K14 or 15 on PlayStation 3. Watch the gameplay of that. I think, personally, to me, it's a masterpiece. 2K14 as a game, as I said before, is a masterpiece, but you can't really top what 2K14 did. It was the perfect mixture of making it feel like a game and bringing in or making it feel like just a game, but still giving you some simulation aspects to it. It was the perfect mix. I don't know how else I could say it. I mean, I have 10.5 minutes in this video, and I don't know how else I could say this. It's just that WWE 2K in recent years has not done that well, and I think it's more evident than ever when it came to this game. So that's just me. And that's another thing I want to mention before I go. Just the overall mechanics of the game. Like, the stamina system, which really fucks you over at times. I mean, this is a fucking video game. This is not a realistic game. So having the stamina bar at this point, to me, is pointless. It just doesn't add anything to me other than a lot of, it's a lot of slow, strategic gameplay where it's like, I gotta have this much stamina if I want to go all out on this submission and shit. It's just, it becomes very boring, for lack of better terms. It's a very boring style of gameplay. And that's all I have to say, man. The way I see it is if you're going to do a mix of both, do it well. 2K20 doesn't do that. And again, 2K14 is by far, to me, the king of doing any of this, of what I just mentioned throughout this video. Anyway, guys, Elias has won his opportunity to face AJ Styles for the United States Championship at SummerSlam in a very great effort, if I will say so myself. Thank you all for joining me on this match. I'll see you all on Raw, and have a great day.